Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Caitlin Ford. I'm the Senior Public Communications Specialist for CSPD. Today, CSPD is grateful to announce that we have closed the investigation into the homicide of Miss Marie Hansel from 1977. This closure has come after many years of hard work and a tireless search for justice for Marie. Today, you will hear from several speakers. First, CSPD Chief of Police, Adrian Vasquez. He will be followed by David Hansel, brother of Maria Hansel. Then, CSPD Cold Case Detective Tracy Thompson. And finally, 4th Judicial District District Attorney Michael Allen. The names, spellings, and titles of today's speakers are all available for you in a media packet that will be distributed at the following of this news conference. After remarks from our speakers, Chief Vasquez, Detective Thompson, and DA Allen will be available for a brief question and answer session. To protect the privacy of the Hansel family, David Hansel will not be available for questions. Finally, after that question and answer session, Chief Vasquez and Detective Thompson will be available for brief one-on-one interviews, and DA Allen will also be available, time allowing. Before our speakers begin, I will provide a brief overview of the case and the work that went into closing it. On February 7th, 1977, at approximately 11:21 p.m., the Colorado Springs Police Department received a call for service of a possible suicide in the 5400 block of North Nevada Avenue. Upon arrival, officers found a 14-year-old female deceased with multiple stab wounds to the chest and neck area. The victim, who was wearing a blue jumpsuit, was later identified as 14-year-old Maria Hansel. The investigation revealed that Miss Hansel had been babysitting for a female neighbor who lived at the same apartment complex. The neighbor returned home at approximately 11:20 p.m., where she found Miss Hansel in the master bedroom deceased. The neighbor's children, aged 6 and 8, were also present during the incident, but were not harmed. The children were sleeping in bed when the neighbor returned home and found Miss Hansel. The El Paso County Coroner's Office conducted an autopsy of Maria Hansel and reported that she had sustained multiple stab wounds to the chest and one prominent stab wound to the neck. Miss Hansel's death was ruled a homicide. The Colorado Springs Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, which included numerous interviews, reports, and collection of evidence. At the time, a suspect had not been identified. However, CSPD did not cease to follow leads and pursue other investigative strategies. As advancements in DNA progressed, several items of evidence were submitted to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation for further scientific analysis. A male DNA profile was developed from a blood stain on Maria Hansel's clothing, but no match was found for the DNA, despite obtaining and submitting samples from various potential suspects, as well as the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS. In 2019, CSPD reached out to Parabon Nanolabs to conduct genetic genealogy DNA analysis involving public commercial DNA databases. The blood on the blue jumpsuit was submitted for genetic genealogy research through Parabon. Genetic genealogy uses advanced DNA testing in combination with innovative genetic analysis, sophisticated identification techniques, and traditional genealogical methods to establish the relationship between an individual and his or her ancestors. For forensic interviews, it is used to generate highly informative leads as to the possible identity of an unknown victim or offender. In the investigation of Maria Hansel, Parabon submitted the genetic data profile created from the unknown crime scene DNA sample collected from the jumpsuit to a public genetic genealogy database for the comparison in hopes of finding individuals who share significant amounts of DNA with the unknown subject. These genetic matches served as clues to inform traditional genealogy research. First, family trees of the matches were constructed back to the set of possible common ancestors using online genealogy databases, newspaper archives, public family trees, obituaries, and other public records, after which descendants research was employed to enumerate the possible identities of the unknown subject. Through extensive research, a person of interest was identified as William Charles Kernan, Jr., who also went by Bill Kernan. The suspect died in 2010. Confirmation DNA was unable to be collected as the suspect was cremated and had no living biological relatives. The suspect was identified as a student at a local college and an acquaintance of the woman Maria Hansel had been babysitting for on the night of her murder. The investigation revealed he had been to the apartment complex on prior occasions. CSPD detectives requested the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office to review the case with genetic genealogy results of the suspect. After the review was completed, the District Attorney's Office is confident the person responsible for the murder of Maria Hansel is William C. Kernan, Jr. Because the suspect died in 2010, the investigation into the murder of Maria Hansel will be closed out as exceptionally cleared by death of the offender. The Colorado Springs Police Department would like to thank the numerous agencies and units who have provided the tremendous amount of investigative assistance in this case over the years, including the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office, the El Paso County Coroner's Office, the Metro Crime Lab, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and Parabon Nanolabs. Parabon was a crucial component in finding the suspect in this investigation. The family and friends of Maria Hansel have waited over 47 years to get justice for Maria. Through years of analysis and investigation, CSPD is grateful to finally provide these answers to Maria's loved ones. Next, I'd like to invite Chief Adrian Vasquez up to the podium to provide remarks.
Well, thank you, Caitlin, and thank you all for being here today. This is a long time coming, and I really do appreciate your willingness to come here in support of Maria Hansel's family. Cold cases are some of the most challenging cases that law enforcement face, quite frankly. Not only because the sheer amount of time that can pass from when the individual was deceased to now, 47 years in this particular case. Can you imagine waiting that long? But the emotional strain on the family is tremendous. They truly want and deserve answers. And I think that's vitally important. And it's part of today's story. I'm extremely grateful to be able to provide Maria's family with the answers that they've been waiting for those 47 years. Today's news doesn't lessen the void left by Maria, and it doesn't ease the pain they feel now, but I do hope that it'll begin to allow them some peace. I'm extremely proud of the hard work, dedication, and professionalism shown by our cold case detectives, victim advocates, DA's office, and everybody that was involved in this case. Each one has looked at this case with a new perspective as they've continued to seek justice for Maria. Detective Tracy Thompson, Marcus Lemkuhl, Rachel Cruz Rogers, and Corey Dabb spent countless hours on this case, and I thank them. They, just like all of our detectives, display a drive and passion to seek justice for families in all cases that are set before them. While not usable technology on all cases, and I think it's really important to make that distinction, it's not usable on all cases. On Maria's case, they were able to turn to the developments in DNA and genealogy, which provided them with the much-needed break to solve this case. To those families and friends watching today who may have a loved one who is part of a cold case, please know we will continue to look for breaks in every cold case and will continue to pursue leads, leveraging every available resource in our pursuit for truth, regardless of how much time has passed. To Mr. Hansel and all of Maria's family, I truly am sorry for your loss so many years ago. Maria was a vibrant and beautiful 14-year-old girl who deserves so much more life. So I am very thankful that you trusted us and that we were able to solve this case for you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'll now have Mr. David Hansel, brother of Maria Hansel, come up to provide some brief remarks.
Short and sweet. I'd really appreciate it if you respect our privacy. I'd like to just thank the whole department. I've been on the phone probably once a week for the last 5 years calling, and they've come through for us. I hope for other families it can be the same way. To Maria, sorry, you can rest in peace. Really, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. We'll now have Detective Tracy Thompson of the CSPD Cold Case Unit come up and provide some remarks.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Thompson. I'm the cold case detective with the Colorado Springs Police Department. I've been in this position since September of 2022, and I've been with the Colorado Springs Police Department for 24 years. This morning, I first want to thank Mr. Hansel and his family for always being in regular contact with me, pushing for results and never forgetting their love for Maria and fighting for justice on her behalf. Each cold case we have is important, and every case is considered active. Every case is unique in different ways, whether it involves DNA, suspects known or unknown, or physical evidence, or a combination of any of these elements. Some cases are more difficult than others, but what each of these cases have in common is that we are always looking for ways to move forward to find a resolution. Sometimes technology can help us do that, but in other cases we require someone coming forward with new information. Maria Hansel's case has been open for 47 years, and many people have spent numerous hours following leads, reviewing case documents, and conducting interviews. As time passed and technology progressed, it became clear that this case had the potential to be moved forward through genetic genealogy. I'm thankful that in Maria's case, that is what helped us and was successful to move that case towards the closure. Each cold case we investigate needs new outside information of some kind. In other cases where DNA technology can't be that outside help, there is most always someone who knows something who has not come forward. Some people may think what they know is important enough to share with police, but I can't stress enough. Please come forward and provide that information so we can evaluate and determine how relevant and important that information can be. You never know how that information you may have about a cold case, no matter how big or small, could move a case forward towards resolution. You can contact the Colorado Springs Police Department Cold Case Unit directly, or if you're not comfortable with that, the Pikes Peak Crime Stopper, it is truly an anonymous way to share information with us. You may be able to help bring peace and closure to another family and other families who are desperate for answers in unsolved cases we are currently working. As for Maria Hansel's case, I want to thank everyone who has been involved in this case from the beginning. I don't have enough time to thank everyone involved, but I do want to acknowledge Tactical Enforcement Unit Officer Rachel Cruz Rogers, Sergeant Marcus Lemcool, retired police officer Clifford Gregory, and Lieutenant Corey Dabb. They were all members of the cold case unit in the latter part of the investigation. I also want to thank the Metro Crime Lab personnel, the Colorado Bureau of Investigations, the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office Deputy District Attorney Christina Peroni, and Parabon Nanolabs. Each one has played a role in helping bring Maria's case to where we are now. The cold case unit will continue the hard work to find justice for all the individuals that were taken too soon. No one is forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And finally, we'll have DA Michael Allen come up to the podium to provide some remarks.
Thank you, as Chief said, for being here and supporting Maria's family. You saw in stark contrast the emotion that David had as he got up here and talked about his sister, who was taken 47 years ago. And the important lesson to take from that is that the impact on families from violent crime in our community across the nation is not lessened with the passage of time. And our hearts, even though we didn't know Maria, they break for you, David, and your family. It's clearly still raw, and it should be something that has not had the opportunity to have closure until today. If there's anything we can do for you and your family going forward, please reach out. I am proud, though, to stand here alongside our partners today, especially Chief Vasquez and his team, for this special announcement. And as I said, in support of Maria Hanzel's family. The mere passage of time is no defense, and we will never rest in our pursuit of justice and in giving voice to those who can't speak for themselves any longer. We will always continue to look at and explore emerging technologies that can help us solve crimes of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. DNA analysis coupled with genealogy is just such a scientific resource that proved invaluable in this investigation. Justice for your sister Maria demanded a tireless search for her killer. In collaboration between my office and CSPD and others, as mentioned by Chief and others, has allowed us to solve this case. We stand together, united, to serve this community and to find people that commit violent acts and to stand here for people like Maria, who deserve the very best from all of us. So again, thank you all for being here today and part of this special occasion to recognize Maria and her family. Thank you.
Thank you, DA. We will now take some time to answer a few questions. Please direct your questions to either Chief Vasquez, Detective Thompson, or DA Allen, and I will repeat them from here at the podium for our viewers online. As a reminder, in respect to the privacy of the Hanzel family, Mr. Hanzel will not be taking questions today. If you guys would like to come. Are there any questions? Yes, Anna. Yes, so her question was, we had stated that Mr. Kernan had been to the apartment on previous occasions. She asked what the context of that is and how frequently, or can you? Yeah. Yeah, the context of him being at that apartment complex. I think, Detective Thompson, if you.
It is unknown how many times. Oh, sorry. First time. It is unknown how many times he visited the apartment complex, but was, and we use the word acquaintance because we don't know the nature of the relationship. We just know that they were acquaintances who went to school together and had been at that location. Okay. Yes, Bill.
Kind of a multi-part here. One, did we suspect this guy all along, and we were looking for that one piece of evidence, and was this like breakthrough, or was it kind of a build-up to this genealogy?
Yeah.
Pieces of evidence coming together, and that was the final kind of keystone of the whole thing?
Yeah. So the question was, had we been looking for this suspect all along? Did we have him identified and we're looking to prove him for this crime? And then was there a build-up to deciding to go to genetic genealogy and to use that technology? Or was it? Right. Was it a build-up to use that technology, or was it a sudden breakthrough? So.
He was not a suspect in the beginning. There were several people that they looked at throughout the investigation. Throughout the investigation leading up to the genetic genealogy is where we came across Mr. Kernan as a suspect in the murder of Maria. And did I miss one? After several techniques of investigations, we did multiple interviews, research, talking to people more than once, twice, however the case developed. And when they ran out of leads, as technology progressed, they decided that if the sample was viable enough for Parabon's requirements, and I'm not a subject matter expert on that, so any technical questions I would have to refer you to Parabon. But as the research came through the family trees, through narrowing down through the research of Parabon, is when Mr. Kernan became on our radar. We did have his name in the beginning, however, at the time, he wasn't looked at specifically.
I would add in the timeline, we submitted the DNA sample to Parabon in 2019. So it's taken this many years of research to look through everything and conclusively decide this. Yes.
Is there anything new that detectives learned through figuring out this cold case? And how can this cold case be used as an example of how to maybe approach other cases?
So the question was, is there anything new that detectives learned through this investigation and through the closure of this cold case? And is there anything that can be applied or be used as an example moving forward with other cold cases? I think Detective Thompson, if you have some, I don't know.
Every case is different. Not all cases can utilize genetic genealogy due to what evidence we have, what type of evidence that is. We know that genetic genealogy is available. We do look at that, and if it is a case that can fall into those requirements, we will, of course, try to go that direction. It's just a matter of what we have in each case, the type of crime is committed, whether, by firearm, stabbing, however it may be. We determine on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. So the question is, what is the cost of genetic genealogy research? Has it come down over the years in price, and will that change the frequency in which we're able to use it for cold cases? Do you know the cost of that one?
The cost can vary depending on how detailed you go into the genetic genealogy. There's a initial fee for initially reviewing the case and determining what steps to take, and then it can build off of there. And again, with costs and specifics on genetic genealogy, Parabon Nanotech would be the best source of information for exact numbers. I actually do not know the total cost of that. That would be something we would have to research for you, but it's not something that I have knowledge for right now.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So the question was, how many detectives have been assigned to Ms. Hanzel's case over the years, and how many cases have we been able to utilize genetic genealogy to close? I think that would be you as well.
It would be venturing to guess of the number of detectives that were on it. From day one, not only did you have detectives, you had patrol resources. Additionally, you had detectives who were called out to assist through the CCIs, crime scene investigators, the district attorney's office, everybody that's involved with homicide that has come in for a call for service. Off the top of my head, I'm running people's names through my head, and I can think of probably about 15 is probably low of actual police officers and detectives with CSPD, but for the names that I am thinking about, I'm counting those, and you just have to include all the other resources. I know that we've used genetic genealogy in 3 cases with success.
Do we have his cause of death? I think it was a natural cause of death. The question was, how did Mr. Kernan die? It was a natural cause of death. Yes, Bill.
Yeah, this is new. If you were alive, suspect, would you be confident with this type of evidence that we could get a conviction? What is the message to others who may think they got away with something 40 years ago?
Yeah, so the question is, if the suspect defendant were alive today, would we feel confident going forward with the prosecution? And what is the message to other people that maybe have committed a crime in the past? Does that accurately reflect the question? So essentially, what we have to look at in cases that span decades before we're able to solve them is the viability of evidence. Do we still have the physical evidence in tow? And luckily, we've got a good relationship with our partner agencies, and we have good understandings as to make sure we preserve that evidence. Secondarily, do we have witnesses that can still get on the stand and testify, because we have to have that? And then as it relates to scientific evidence, is it tested evidence? Does that mean that it's reliable evidence that a jury can base a decision off of? Everything associated with this case, besides the passage of time, which does bring its own difficulties, this is a case that we would feel very comfortable filing and then prosecuting and searching for justice through that court process. The message that it should send to other people that have committed crimes in distant past is similar to what Chief Vasquez had said in his comments, that we don't stop searching for justice for victims. If there's someone out there that has committed a crime that hasn't been caught yet, we're looking for you. And we're going to use every opportunity and every technology that develops over time to find you and bring you to justice. That should be the message to people that have committed crimes in the past. And I can tell you, speaking from 20 years in prosecution, police don't get tired of looking, and neither do the DAs. And we will hold people accountable if we are able to identify them.
Any other questions? All right. Well, this concludes our news conference. The full redacted case report will be made available by the end of business this Friday on the CSPD website on our Cases of Interest page. Chief Vasquez, Detective Thompson, and time allowing, DA Allen, will now be available for brief one-on-one interviews. You will also be receiving an electronic copy of our media packet in an email from the PIO office. If you're not on our media distribution list and would like to be added to it, please send an email to pio@coloradosprings.gov. And we will ensure that you receive a copy of today's packet. If you have further questions, please contact the Public Information Office. Thank you, everybody.